Hey YouTube, how you guys doing today? Kevin here coming at you with another video. Working on the Kawasaki KE102 build. So I stripped down the case yesterday and I wanted to show you guys a little bit about what I did, some highlights, because you guys have seen me do this before. So I am going to show you on another motor that we have to do right after this one. A gentleman sent up a motor for me to work on and tear into it, so we're going to be doing that on the bench. But this has to go to the machine shop first. So well, let's get right into the video. But before I do, please take a moment, hit that subscribe button and the bell icon so when I post a video, you guys get it. So I had to split the case. You can actually see my tachometer drive on here. All pretty cool. And I had to split the case, but notice how I didn't take any of the transmission guts out. No, none of the guts were removed out of this motor. None. And I'll tell you guys why. Because you don't need to. You can split the case without tearing that all apart. These are two studs from a KV75 MT1. You can use them from a, what do you call it there? A KD80, a KDX50, same thing. Slide this in. Of course, there'll be washers. You do this, you put those on after the fact. But see how this puller is sitting right here? There's a couple of washers that go on here and here, okay? And a little dimple right there, which I gotta regrind a little bit, pushes on that center part of the crank, and then that pushes the case away, and then you really don't have to do much. What do you have to do for disassembly to take all that? You have to remove your neutral safety light and your sprocket on the left side of the bike, and then you can split the case without disturbing anything inside here. So it's pretty cool with that, using a puller. You can use a power steering puller, I believe. I'm going to check into that. This is one that I had made, so it's pretty cool. And then I was able to get the side cover off without any issue. So what are we doing with this? So I want to show you the differences between the two halves. Okay, so they pretty much look exactly the same. I'll put this here for a second. And then there's the other case. Okay, they are extremely close. What are the differences? The differences are, it takes this cover right here with the high and low range, and we're going to put this cover onto the G5, the new one. Okay, in order to do this, we have to make some modifications to make this thing a 10-speed. We have to take these two dowel pins and have these two drilled out to accept the two dowel pins. That's job one. Job two is, you notice the hole right here for the output shaft is small, and that one is large. So this is going to go to the machine shop today. Let's get these studs off here real quick. Get her off. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. And you flip it around. Flip this one around. You will notice that this bearing right here and this bearing are two different diameters. Like this, you can see it. They're close, they'll fit almost in the same hole, but you can see the difference in diameter because this takes the bigger output shaft. Right there, this will fit right into there. And then, of course, it takes a bigger seal on that one and a bigger seal as this takes a smaller seal. So what's going to happen today is they're going to go in and they're going to machine that out. They're going to take that diameter out, and they're going to make it that diameter. So the only thing that they're doing is boring these out, and I'm going to bring both of these halves so they can have that as a reference and all that. And of course the bearing that came out of there, so they can go ahead and fit them and match them and all that happy stuff. And that's pretty much it. So I'm going to order this bearing, get this bearing coming, and then we'll be able to use that into this case and the seal from that style motor into this one without having any issues at all. So it's pretty cool how that's going to be. And then they'll be able to machine that out, not machine that one, but get the dimensions, the size, so when it puts it into this, it's going to be absolute. Not bad, huh? So that's what I'm doing today. So they're going to do, once again, the modification to make your G5 a trail boss other than the transmission shaft is put what do you call it there, the dowel pins in here, which are very important. What do dowel pins do? They stop this cover from going like this, twisting. Okay, they hold it straight. They're alignment pins, and they're very important. And then of course for this side over here, you can see they're only on these two bosses, so that's where it's needed. So, and on the G, so I get a lot of questions on this. See these extra mounting bolts? That's because this is the cover that uses them. Okay, so you're going to be using different bolts than you would on your KV or your KE100, but that's what those extra bosses are for, is because this can be modified for this, and they make other covers as well that go on here, like the GTO 125s or GTO 100s have a different cover pattern. So when they put these bosses on here, it depends on what model they're using them on, the cover can go on. So pretty cool. But I got this table all laid out. You can see right here where I got the bolt pattern right here for the case all drilled out. That way I don't lose where the bolts go. And of course this has been converted over to Allen head bolts, so that made it assembly really easy. This cylinder head right here was bored out and machined, nickel high compression head, CDI, and 12 volt. And so this bike is going to be quite nice. And of course I did check, I think I mentioned it in the last time I was talking about disassembling that motor. I wasn't sure if this here was the right size for the shifter shaft. It is, so that's all correct, and it's in the correct place, so we don't have to deal with any of that. Pretty nice, I think. So, and then of course the KV75 motor, you can see the tack drive right here, and the Kickstarter that comes through. It's pretty nice. So anyway guys, thank you for watching, and when I get back on the video, we'll be working back on the other parts of the bike. We have a whole bunch more to do. We have to clean an electrical harness, we got to inspect it, and I'm going to show you guys all that, how to do all that. So anyway, so I will talk to you guys in a little bit. Hey YouTube, back at it again. Alright, so we got the what do you call it there, the other parts sent out to be machined, and now we're back on the KE102 build. Now this is the one with the tachometer, and I put one of the gears in here, one of the the shaft, to see how it is. I tried recording it, but it didn't go through for some reason. So now I'm redoing it again, and luckily I noticed it before it got too far in the video. So I want to show you what we're going to be doing tonight. Tonight we're installing the transmission components from the Trail Boss 100, same as the KV 100, high and low range. So this is what the diameter of the shaft is coming out, and you can see it's got some oil holes, and I'm going to change this setup right here as well because it also has oil holes and this awesome groove. What this groove does is it allows oil to lubricate a lot better, where the factory one does not have that. But let me get you guys in the stand, and we'll get cracking. So many times we think that the newer stuff is better, it's better designed, it's better built, it's stronger. It is not always the case. Sometimes they cheapen things up just to move them along. And well, this is a perfect example of it. This is a G5, and the parts that are in here are from an older, like a 72 going into a 96 motor. But that's sinking, that's pretty big. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this clutch back off real quick, and when I do, I will show you what I'm talking about. If I can get that clip out. Okay, I had to change a pair of pliers out. I broke one of my tips off, but anyway, this is what the clip looks like. Expand that, and then there's a thrust washer in there and all that happy stuff. I'm going to see if I get this off without... Yeah, it's got the washer in there, and the washer's into the groove. Okay, no big deal. Just tip it up on its end, like so. I'm gonna get that washer to move. Okay. I think it's gonna fight me. Guys, here's something to be careful for. So, the washer right here actually fell when it was like this. It was in here. It actually locked into the groove and I couldn't get it out. So, it took me a little bit of time to mess with that, but I got it out. I figured out what the problem was. Alright, so let's flip this thing around. Okay. So now we're going to pull this out and I'm going to show you guys what the difference is between the two. So this is all the factory gearing from the, what do you call it there? The Trail Boss 100. And you can see the groove on the back here. Right here, this, it looks like a screw type groove. That right there is where the oil travels around. And it's got these little oil holes. This is a really good quality gear for this bike. Okay. Then this one right here is going to come out now. The clutch is out. That part stays in there. There is a bearing on this one right here. It's held in with grease. And you can see how this one is smooth and there's nothing on it. And then when I take the shaft going into it, you can see right here on the end, they're the same length, but you can see the groove all the way around it. That is a good quality shaft right there because it has an oil passage where this one doesn't. Notice how this one has a wear mark, this one doesn't. So this one's going to give better lubricity. I can't pronounce that word. And of course it's got oil holes right here for the bearings. Okay. And with that goes this way. Make sure I got everything on the same. Yep, same way. Let's just do this. Okay, beautiful. Oh, that feels so much better. Okay. Now I'm going to take that other shaft right here, the big output shaft. And actually, now that I know which way they're going to go, I'm going to mend them together like so. Slide them in. I'll try to anyway. They don't always mesh right up with the oil pump drive gear and the star gear, but this one just did. Okay. So now the transmission part is in. That's lined up right there. Perfect. Nice. Smooth. Looks good. And now we'll put the shifter forks in. Make sure they go into the right grooves. Okay. Now, one of the most common questions I get about transmissions, and it's the most common problem with transmissions, is, Kevin, I go to shift all the gears and I can only go to maybe one or two. How come that is? These gears are cut straight. I'll show you what I mean. See how the teeth are straight? Okay, so when you move the shifter, some of the gears aren't going to mesh. That's meshing. Some of the gears are lined up like that, so they hit. That's why you can't shift into the other gears unless the engine's rotating. When the engine rotates, then they slide in and then they start to mesh. Now, if it was a transmission that had angle cut gears like this, yeah, they're angled, okay, these are here mesh a lot better, but they don't make them like that. So this is kind of what we're stuck with. So if you have a bike and you get the bike all together and you notice that the bike is not shifting through all the gears while it's not running, well, that's because it can't, because the gears are hitting. So that's a very common question. I get that asked a lot. And oh, it's a stupid question. No, it's not a stupid question. It's a question that is commonly asked and needed an answer. And that's why you guys watch my channel, because I give you guys the answers. Or at least do my best to. So this is the KE102 build. And now it features, okay, so now it features a high and low gear range, a tachometer drive. This thing's pretty sweet. And since we're in here now and I already split this part of the case, I'm going to replace that crank bearing just because. I'm going to order it. I don't have it yet. But I wanted to get this thing pretty much RTG. So when the cover comes back, it's all machined, I can just bolt it right on and be happy and done with it. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. All right, move this over here. One of the other questions I get a lot asked is, Kevin, I got this ball bearing, this one right here. This is one particular. And where does that go? I took the case apart and it fell out. That goes on your input shaft right here. So this is your input shaft, this is your output shaft. Okay, and on the end of the input shaft, you'll see this little divot, this little dimple. And I'm going to show you guys how to get the bearing to stay in the input shaft without falling out. Grab some grease. Pack it right in. Oil will not work. It needs to be grease. And there you go. That bearing is literally not going anywhere. And now it just stays right in the case. And on this side right here, one of the most common things to be left out and forgotten on is this is your oil transfer tube. This is your rotary valve. That's your transfer tube right there. That's so when the case is on, the carburetor is on, it will oil can pass through it, and this is what the little passage looks like. And then of course the O-rings seal it from the oil from here going into your you know, leaking all over the place. So instead of your two-stroke oil going through into here to the jet, it would actually, this would move either way and then it would leak. It'd be an awful mess. Now I want to talk to you guys about the out drive part of it, the final drive, and what my plans are for that. So this is the one out sprocket. I mean, this thing is junk, and we're going to run this thing. So what we're going to do with this is going to go to the machine shop, and what they're going to do is they're going to put this on what they call Bridgeport, and they're going to grind all this off. They're going to make it, I believe, the same diameter as this or the next step up. And then what they're going to do is they're going to take the new gear and they're going to put this in a Bridgeport and open up all this right here. This is then going to slide over the gear, over this, to where it's got to go, and be welded on, MIG welded, all the way around. So they'll put a groove on it. You'll see all that. And this is a 16 tooth that's going on in place of the 15. And you can see that the diameter is really not much. It's literally one tooth difference. So I'm happy with that. That's the one I wanted to use anyway. And that's what we're going to do. So this is going to be reused as a for this motor. It's just going to be modified to fit this. I would like to see if we could put a flange on it and then kind of bolt it to, I don't know how they're going to do it, but they have a way of doing it. I believe they're going to weld it and then grind it and machine it all, and you won't even be able to see the welds. So that's the plans for the outdrive part of it. So once again, they're going to machine all that off, make a bank. They're going to open this up, machine this out, weld that on, and then there you go. That's how that's going to be. So if there's a will, there's a way, right? And as you guys noticed, I went old school with this motor, and it wasn't intentional. It was one of those things where I found better parts and pieces, like the steel clutch housing basket, the aluminum, which these are all aluminum, but some of them, the whole piece is aluminum, and now it's got another steel there, so I have more steel to grab, which is the best material as opposed to aluminum. Unfortunately, this housing on the back side is the only aluminum, so for the weak link in the clutch, it's going to be the back side of that, which is not really all that bad, because now I got 4 steels as opposed to 3 steels and 2 aluminums. Now it's got 1 aluminum and the rest is steels. Okay, so I would say, guys, that this thing is coming out pretty sweet. I am very, very impressed with it, and the fact that I'm able to use a high and low range on a newer engine, that's pretty cool. So I can't wait to try this thing out on this bike. I mean, this is some older stuff, you know. The Suzuki TCs, the TC90, the TC100 all have the high and low range. So that's something else to consider too if you guys are building a bike and you're not sure which one you want to do. There's a lot more options out there for you. So, but yep, so that's where we're at with that, and then we're just waiting for the other parts and pieces to come on. So this is an update video on what's going on and the transmission for the Kawasaki KE102. I want to say thank you guys for watching. There's a lot of new subscribers. I want to say welcome to the channel. Thank you guys all for your support. I appreciate it. I also I wanted to show you guys something real quick. So there's my little flag right there. It's probably 14 inches by 12 inches. And I know there's a lot of other people from other countries like the UK, Japan, India, Pakistan, all over the place. I would like to decorate my my canopy here with different flags. So if you guys have any flags to send, by all means, I would really appreciate that, because I really want to hang up some flags. And if you guys do get a flag and you do decide you want to mail it to me, by all means, please write your name, okay, and what bike you have. Your name and your bike on the side, not on your flag. Don't take away from your flag, but put it right up there. I would love to hang some other flags up in here, you know, because we have a lot of people from a lot of different countries, and I really appreciate you guys. I really appreciate your subscribers, my subscribers. I appreciate your questions and your comments, and it means a lot to me. So I just wanted to put that out there. I just want to say thank you guys for all of your support. We have a lot of things going on. The KE102 build, David's bike. I'm going to be teaching you guys something really cool tomorrow on David's bike. So there's a David's bike update, and yeah, so there's a lot of cool stuff, and especially the building of the Kawasaki KE102. So just want to say thank you guys again for all your support, all your watching, and all your comments. You guys mean a lot to me, and without you guys, I wouldn't be doing this channel. So once again, thank you very much. I'll talk to you guys later. I'm out!